Hey everyone, welcome back to the Silent Whispers. Tonight, we're diving into three true scary neighbor encounters that happened on Halloween night. These stories come from real people who reached out. And trust me, they still give me chills just reading them over. Grab your blanket, turn off the lights, and let's get into the first one. Story 1. The Watchful Eyes in the Window. It was Halloween 2018. And Sarah had just moved into a quiet cul-de-sac in a small Ohio town. She was 28, single, and excited to start fresh after a messy breakup. The house next door belonged to an older couple. The Millers, Mr. Miller was a retired mechanic with a bushy white beard, and Mrs. Miller always waved from her porch with a plate of cookies. They seemed harmless, the kind of neighbors who mow your lawn if you're away. But on Halloween night, everything shifted. Sarah decided to hand out candy for the first time. She carved a wonky pumpkin, lit it up on the stoop, and waited in her witch costume, sipping hot cider. The kids came in waves, superheroes, the usual. Around 7 p.m., the Miller's porch light flicked on. Mr. Miller shuffled out in his old flannel. No costume, just handing out full-size Snickers like he owned the block. Keeps the little monsters happy. He chuckled to Sarah, his voice gravelly from years of cigarettes. As the night wore on, the air got crisp, leaves crunching under tiny feet. Sarah's bowl emptied fast, so she stepped inside for a refill. That's when she noticed it through her living room window. The Miller's kitchen light was on, and Mrs. Miller stood there, staring right at Sarah's house. Not waving, not smiling, just watching. Her face was pale under the fluorescent glow, eyes locked like she was studying every move. Sarah waved awkwardly, but Mrs. Miller didn't blink. She just tilted her head, slow, like an owl sizing up prey. Sarah shook it off. Old folks get weird at night. Right. She went back out, laughed with a group of teens dressed as zombies. But every few minutes, she'd glance over, and there was Mrs. Miller, still at the window, closer now, her breath fogging the glass in little puffs. The cold seeped in, making Sarah's skin prickle. By 9 p.m., the trick-or-treaters thinned out, and Sarah started packing up. She blew out the pumpkin, the smoke curling like fingers, and locked the door with a sigh. That's when the knocking started. Soft at first, like branches tapping, but it was coming from the back door. Sarah's heart skip edge lived alone. No pets, no wind that strong. She crept to the kitchen window, peering through the blinds. There, in the glow of her porch light, stood Mr. Miller, not at the front, but right up against the back fence, his face pressed to the chain link, eyes wide and unblinking. Sarah, you got any more of that cider left? Wife's feelin' under the weather, he called, voice low, almost a whisper carried on the wind. She froze. The Miller's house was on the other side. How'd he get back there so fast? Her yard was dark, shadows pooling like ink, and something about his smile. It pulled too tight, showing teeth yellowed from time. Sure. Just a sec, she stammered, grabbing a mug to buy time. But as she pawed, she heard Eater faint scratching at the window. Looking up, Mrs. Miller was there now, inches away on the other side of the glass. Her hand pressed flat against it, fingers splayed white, nails scraping slow circles. No sound from her lips, just those eyes, hungry and empty. Sarah's mug slipped, cider splashing hot across her hand. She backed away, pulse thumping in her ears, and dialed the cops from the hole. There's someone at my window, she whispered, voice shaking. The operator stayed calm, promising a car in 10. But the scratching didn't stop. It grew rhythmic, like Morse code spelling out a warning. Sarah huddled in the bathroom, door locked, listening to the night press in. Sirens finally wailed, lights flashing blue through the cracks. The cops checked the yard. Nothing. No footprints in the soft dirt. No broken fence. The miller's house was dark, like they'd never been up. The next morning, Sarah knocked on their door, nerves frayed. Mrs. Miller answered, frail and smiling, offering fresh muffins. Heard the commotion last night. You okay, dear? Mr. Miller called from inside, voice cheerful. Sarah mumbled thanks and left, but she couldn't shake it. She started noticing things after that. Their curtains always parted just enough, eyes glinting in the gap, whispers from their yard at midnight, words like, watch her, floating on the breeze. Months later, Sarah packed up and moved. The realtor said the Millers had lived there 40 years. No kids, no visitors. But digging online, she found an old artically a missing girl from the neighborhood. Vanished on Halloween 1979. Last seen heading to the Millers for candy. The photo, a teen with Sarah's eyes, her smile, and in the background, blurred but unmistakable, two figures at a window, watching. If you're out trick-or-treating this year, check the windows before you knock. You never know who's already watching you. All right, that one's got me looking over my shoulder. Let's move to our second story, sent in from a guy in Texas who swears every word is true. Story 2, The Echo in the Attic, back in 2022. On a humid Halloween in Austin, Mike and his wife Lena bought their first fixer-upper. It was a two-story colonial on a leafy street. Cheap because the previous owners bailed quick. The neighbors were friendly, enough, mostly young families, except for the widow across the street, Mrs. Hargrove. She was in her 70s, always in a housecoat, rocking on her porch swing with a thermos of something strong. Lovely place you got, she'd say, but her eyes lingered too long on the attic window, like she was waiting for something to move up there. Mike and Lena ignored it. Too busy with Renos. They threw a small Halloween bash string lights, fog machine, a bowl of spiked punch. Friends piled in, kids running wild in costumes, laughter bouncing off the walls. Mike manned the grill out back, burgers sizzling with that smoky char, while Lena played host inside. Around 8 p.m., the power flicker-riddled wiring. They figured, but when it hummed back, a new sound layered in faint thumps from the attic, like footsteps pacing slow. At first, it blended with the party noisy bass from the speakers, clinking bottles. But Mike's buddy Jake, a bit buzzed, paused mid-story. Yo, what's that up top? Sounds like someone's stomping. Everyone laughed it off, blaming the cat they didn't have. Lena shot Mike a look. There was smiled tight, fingers twisting her necklace. The thumps grew steadier, a rhythm like a heartbeat echoing through the vents. The air thickened, carrying a musty whiff, like wet earth after rain. By 10, guests trickled out, waving goodbyes under the harvest moon. Mike climbed the pull-down stairs to the attic, flashlight cutting yellow beams through dust motes. Cobwebs clung like veils, boxes stacked like forgotten graves. Nothing up there, no critters, no loose bards, just silence, heavy and waiting. He shrugged it off, joined Lena in bed, but sleep wouldn't come. The thumps started again at midnight. Soft knocks now, right above their heads. Lena bolted up, eyes wide in the dark. Mike, it's coming from the hatch. He grabbed the flashlight, heart kicking like a drum. The attic door rattled in its frame, not from wind, something pushing from inside. Dust sifted down like ash, tickling their noses. Mike shoved the ladder up, climbed slow, beam shaking. The air up there turned cold, breath fogging. And there, in the corner, by the dormer window a shape, not solid, but flickering, like heat haze over pavement, a silhouette of a woman, head tilted, listening. She turned, slow, face dissolving into shadow, except for ice-black pits that pulled at you. Mike's scream tore out, raw and boyish. He tumbled down the ladder, crashing into Lena. They grabbed coats, fled to the car, engine roaring to life. From the driveway, they watched their house, lights on but empty, and across the street, Mrs. Hargrove's porch light snapped on. She stood there, rocking slow, thermos forgotten. Told you it was lovely, she murmured, voice carrying clear over the quiet street. But her eyes weren't on the house, they were on the attic window, where a faint glow pulsed, like a candle behind flesh. The cops came, searched, found squat, wind in the rafters. They said, Mike and Lena sold fast, lost money, but gained nightmares. Turns out, Mrs. Hargrove's daughter hanged herself in that attic back in '95 Halloween night. After a fight, the widow never moved her things, just listened for echoes. And sometimes, on quiet nights, Mike swears he hears those thumps in his new place. Faint, like footsteps crossing the street. Halloween's full of echoes. Folks, listen close, and you might hear one calling your name. Phew, that's the kind of chill that sticks. Our last story comes from a listener in Pennsylvania, and it's a slow burner that'll have you double-checking your locks. Story 3, The Candy That Lingers, Halloween 2014, in a sleepy Philly suburb. And 12-year-old Ethan was all in vampire cape, plastic fangs, the works. His mom worked nights at the hospital, so he and his older sister, Riley, 16, hit the street solo. Their block was prime porches, groaning with skeletons, fog rolling from dry ice buckets. The neighbor, 2 doors down, Mr. Ellis, was the starvery year. He built a haunted graveyard in his yard, complete with fog and moans from hidden speakers. Free candy if you brave the zombies. Head yell, his laugh booming like thunder. Ethan and Riley loaded up Reese's, Skittles, the whole heavy in their bags. Mr. Ellis waved them over last, his face painted like a ghoul, eyes twinkling under the makeup. One more treat. Kids. Special batch. He handed over glowing orange-wrapped bars. Homemade. Sticky with caramel that smelled like burnt sugar and something sharper. Like cloves. Don't eat 'em all at once. He winked, but his gaze stuck on Ethan, lingering like smoke. Back home, lights low, they dumped the loot on the kitchen table. Riley snuck a few. Crashed early. Ethan, wired on adrenaline, unwrapped his orange bar under the fridge glow. It tasted off too chewy, a crunch that wasn't nutty. He spat it out, but the flavor clung, thick on his tongue, like licking copper. Shrugging, he bagged the rest and hit bed, the house creaking in the wind. Midnight hit like a slap. Ethan woke thirsty, mouth dry as paper. He padded downstairs, the stairs groaning under his socks. The kitchen was dark, but a rustle came from the table, his bag, tipped over, wrappers glinting. He flicked the light. All the orange bars were gone, just empty foil, crinkled like shed skin. Heart picking up. He checked the trash note, the fridge. Nothing. Riley, he whispered, but her door stayed shut. Then, the front door clicked soft, like a tongue on teeth. Ethan froze, cape tangled at his feet. Footsteps shuffled outside, slow circles on the porch, gravel crunching deliberate. He peeked through the curtain. Mr. Ellis stood there. No costume now, just his bathrobe flapping in the breeze. He held a lantern, flame dancing, shadows across his face, cheeks hollow, eyes sunken like head, aged 10 years in hours. In his other hand, a small bowl filled with more orange bars. He knocked, gentle, 3 times. Ethan, left something for you. Come get it. Boy. Ethan's blood turned to ice, prickling his scalp. He backed away, breath shallow, dialing Riley's phone on silent voicemail. The knocking turned to scratches, nails on wood, slow and pleading. Just a taste. Yowl like it. Promise. The voice wasn't booming, no, it wheezed. Wet, like something drowning inside. Ethan bolted to the basement door, hiding behind the washer, the dark pressing close, smelling of mildew and fear. Dawn broke grey, and the scratching stopped. Ethan crept up arch empty. No bars, no bowl. Riley stumbled down, groggy, heard knocking. You okay? She looked fine, but her breath, it carried that clove tang. Faint but there. Ethan didn't tell her. He threw the whole bag in the outdoor trash, watched it from the window. Weeks later, digging for an old toy in the basement, he found them tucked behind a shelf. The orange bars, wrappers pristine, like they'd grown there. He burned them in the backyard fire pit, flames popping blue. But the smell, it followed him into dreams, where Mr. Ellis waited, bowl in hand, whispering, "One more. Ethan, it's what neighbors do." Mr. Ellis passed that winter heart attack, they said. But on the next Halloween, Riley vanished for an hour during trick-or-treat, came back with a funny taste in her mouth, and a pocket full of glowing wrappers she couldn't explain. Ethan moved out at 18, but he still skips Halloween. The air too thick with that lingering sweet. Be careful what you take from a neighbor's hand. Some treats aren't meant to end. There you have it, 3 true scary neighbor encounters. That'll make this Halloween one to remember. Which story scared you the most? Comment below and subscribe for more true horror stories. Stay safe out there.